Hello, this is Rutger. I'm about to begin the outline of the house for the level. Hello. I've gotten some of the outline done. I'm not quite finished yet, but I am stopping tonight because it's dark out. And what I need to do, I kind of need people to either be awake or for me to have, for it to be light out. I want to build the roof shape, and I want to double check and make sure I have the rooms properly outlined. As you can see right here, I built this outline up here, like that. I did it first down there, and then I redid it, but for every block I added 4 blocks, and I sometimes deviated whenever I felt as if I needed to, because it didn't feel right. I added these staircases where there are staircases in the house, so it'd be normal, this living room, and then you'd have to go up here, same over here, you'd have to go up, and then all this would be elevated a bit. That's why these doors are a bit higher, and then the orange represents having to go downstairs. This black is a fence gate. Here's the shed outside. As you can see, the orange, you go downstairs. This is the little crawl space. It's still within range of the warden's attacks, which I like. I believe this is right in range, actually perfectly in range. I think it's 16 blocks, and I think I went up 14, and then this is the 15th. So the warden will still be able to hear them here, so long as they're also within the diagonal. I may add some additional sound triggered effects, just so they have to be sneakier, and then they don't exactly know where the warden is. I do plan on having sound traps under here to guide a pathway for the warden. I'll have a trapdoor trigger randomly, and then the warden will hear it. He'll go "What's that?" He'll walk over to it. But again, I need to tomorrow finish the outline. I want to go outside of the house and see what the roof looks like. I'm pretty sure it's triangular, then it goes here, and it does that. I don't know. I have never actually looked at the roof, but I also want to make sure again that every sort of wall is where it should be. I'm going to look at all the furniture, sort of make a mental note there, and then tomorrow I'll be able to start placing blocks and stuff. I also need to see what color the house is, what exact shade, so that I can properly use this. That should take a long time. I know it's going to be late, this mission, but I want it to be perfect. Hello, we are currently loading into L&L. So, I decided on an interior, since we never really go outside, and if I were to do an exterior, I would have to make the entire world look really strange, and I just did not know how to do that. We'll start in this room. I made it a bit lighter, and as you can see, there's no skulk. The furniture is, as mentioned in the level design document, larger to emphasize the player's size. You would go through here. There's a here. I'm just following the critical path. You go up here, through here, blue key 2, and then you would fall down into this water pool. And we are currently in the bathroom. As you can see, it's very otherworldly. Even the mirror looks a bit strange. That's because this is a dream world. Washer and dryer right here. It's modeled after my own house. I made sure that if there is a door in the real world, that the door would be open. So as you can see here. Oh, actually there's something over here. See, even I missed it. But there's a key right here through the crack. I'm sure they would see it walking out. They'd be like, yep, right at the corner of their eye. Then we're in the kitchen with the oven, little dog kennel, fridge. They see this door is open very obviously. They go through and they find blue key 1. So with both blue keys, they're then able to do that and open up this door, or they will go down here. This is what the outside looks like. Then they'll reach this little shed area where they will find red key 1. They already found red key 2, so now their goal is to just make it all the way back so they can use this smaller tunnel to make some of the distance. I'm sure you're able to hear right now, but as I'm flying by, there are noises going on. That's because I added skulk sensors here. So the warden itself, which is in this dispenser, I actually have some funny redstone here. I didn't know how to trigger the dispenser or turn off the redstone torch without a lever being here, because then I couldn't activate that lever. So what I did was I used this lever to turn off the torch, and this button up here at the very beginning that asks the player if they're ready to start, what that does is it triggers this piston that breaks the lever, which then activates the torch and dispenses a warden. Wait. Okay, here. I think I'm a bit worried, but I think I think it may be a continuous trigger from the redstone's torch. So instead, I'm going to store these in some other place, just real quick, because I have to reset the trap after each attempt. So I'd rather just have the named eggs on me. So I'll just put a barrel here. You can see I started by creating an outline for the house like that. I wanted to do the roof, and then I realized I'd need to go all the way out, make it like a dome, do all that. And I also realized they're never really outside. It's always the interior. Here you can see some of the skulk sensors paired with shriekers. As I was saying before, the warden's range, I assume, is just as much as a skulk sensors, which is about 16 blocks in every direction. Because of the size of this map, the player will often be outside of his range. So to compensate that, the skulk sensors have a range of 16 blocks. So let's say the warden's 13 blocks away from the shrieker, but I'm within the shrieker's range by 12 blocks. It then makes a noise, the warden comes closer, and then the warden's within range to hear me. It's less so a system of traps to build pathing, and more so a movement mechanic that follows the player based on mistakes they make. I did make you may have seen within the video, may have, if I still have editing software. If I do not, you definitely have, because it's probably super long. But originally this was gray carpet, and then I realized the warden can't hear you if it's gray carpet. This muffles music. So what I did instead was I used dried coral to make a sort of like a dried like a like a shag carpet type thing. I like how everything's lit up. I use glow lichen to do that, even with minimal lighting. over here. But the glow liking spread around lights this place up like pretty well. I don't think I have any potion effects equipped right now. I covered up a lot of the dark spots over here. Again, no skulk, but plenty of like lichen and stuff. I'm gonna have to get rid of these bats and everything. Or I don't. It also makes it seem like otherworldly, like all these like bats like in the building. And then when they win, again, you saw the very last thing I did was I set up some fireworks, same as the last level I created. I do have the shulkers. They kind of let light go through for the doors. I also felt as if they look similar to the doors. And the closed off doors here. And I think I have a closed off door over here. Yeah, these ones can't be opened, but they exist in the real world, so I added them here. These are the only two that can really be opened. Everything else is either opened or closed. I do think I did pretty good. All the furniture looks like what it is. Like you can clearly see this is a TV, a PS5, some windows, a bed, dresser, like a lamp thing, chair, dresser thing. I think the oven looks obvious. This isn't obvious. They're like cat and dog food containers that I have at my house. Fridge is a bit obvious. Sinks are obvious. That's a toaster oven. I don't know if that's obvious. Salt and pepper, stuff like that. Again, it's very much real world, but like the scales heightened a lot. And then I added the skulk and other colors that remind me of the warden to sort of make it seem as if it's his domain. And he's not, I want him to spawn right here, and he's only going to spawn the moment the player decides to start. That is essentially everything that I have. I will begin playtesting soon and fixing anything if there is anything I need to be fixed.